Hello YouTube, welcome back to Assetto Corsa, and today we're going to be looking at the Ferrari 288XX GTO. Now I know what you guys are thinking, XX GTO? That doesn't sound like something that would have been around in the 80s. Well, it wasn't. This is a fictional car, but I tell you something, it's a really good fictional car.
Well, I mean, when I first saw it, I thought it was a car from Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah, I think I know which car you're referring to, especially when you look at the front lights, isn't it? It's the front of the car.
Is it Infernus? Is it Inferno? Infernus?
Isn't the Infernus in Grand Theft Auto 4? But yeah, actually no, you're right, it could be the Infernus. But it does have that look at the front. Although the back of the Infernus I always thought looked like a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about an Infernus?
Oh, we're talking about Grand Theft Auto.
I don't know.
Right, anyway.
Should we try again?
Yeah, let's go back. Let's go back to Assetto Corsa.
Right. But yeah, this car, Ferrari 288XX GTO. Now you guys might remember that some months ago, I think it must have been now 4 or 5 months ago, we had a look at the Ferrari 288 GTO.
Yeah.
Which was what this car is based off, but it's actually based off the Evolution model, which is a model that's not in Assetto Corsa at the moment, but apparently they are working on it. I think this very team's actually working on it as well.
Isn't there's a bit of a hint of the F40 as well in here?
Yes, a lot of hints. I mean, it was the same with the original 288. You could tell that it became the F40 in later years, when they had the race versions and everything.
So in theory, this is just like the love child between the 288 and the F40.
No, because this comes before the F40. But
you know what I mean.
It's the 288 was literally the base for the F40, which was then the base for the F50, which was then the base for the Enzo, which was then the base for the LaFerrari. So this is actually the LaFerrari of the 80s.
Of the 80s, yeah. Okay.
LaFerrari of the early 80s. Anyway. Now we're really going off topic. This is what happens. Remember, every time we get a fictional car, we end up talking about all these cars, trying to work out exactly what it is.
Just very random.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the weight of this car, because 940 kg. Is that random as well? They're just the number that picked off the top of their heads, or?
No, I believe that number was actually specifically made for the actual weight of the car compared to what you'd take off it to make it a race car.
Okay.
And then looking around GT regulations and stuff.
So it's basically it's a guesstimate then.
It's a guesstimate of what this car would be at that kind of that kind of specification, which is not bad. I mean, 940 kilos. I would have thought this car would be around a ton as well, because it wasn't that heavy a car to start with.
Yeah. Well, shall we just roll off the specs then?
Yeah, let's roll off the specs.
650 brake at 7,000 RPM. Again, these are all guesstimates we're going at.
I think the 650 actually is the Evolution engine. I think they're using the same engine.
Okay,
so
alright.
that one's alright.
Okay.
And we've got 667 newton meters of torque. I don't know why. Sometimes you get these really odd numbers, 667, but that's really low. Really low, 3,500, and believe me, it caught me out a few times. And as you can see, this corner has also caught me out now. Is that twice in a row? 3 times in a row. But it also goes now. This car is propelled 225 miles an hour.
Rapid for a 1980s car, isn't it?
It is. It is really fast. Now I didn't get it. I mean, down this back straight is probably the fastest you're going to see it.
Yeah, because this is the longest straight on the lap, isn't it?
Now you can see, even though it can go that fast, it looks like I'm getting to about 180 only. So I mean, there must be some gear tuning needed or something. And it does come with a 6-speed sequential gearbox, not a 5-speed manual anymore. 5-speed manual in the original. This is a 6-speed sequential, but it's not a paddle shifted sequential.
Okay.
So it's one of those stick sequential ones, like Triptronic. You know how Audis have those weird Triptronic devices?
Yeah.
Something similar to that. However, obviously we don't have that, so it works on the paddles. So realistically, it's a paddle shifted. It's a paddle shifted.
So far, it's just a massive mess of confusion right now.
A little bit, but I think all stick sequentials will end up like that in Assetto Corsa. No auto blip, as you know, that's realistic. You don't want auto blip on a car like this because 1980s the electronics weren't that hot. You know, they weren't that hot, so you've got no auto blip, which does make this car really nice to drive.
And Rob, it's got my favourite part of the car: the tyres, the GT tyres.
Yeah.
That they're just when I look at them, you just know it's a Ferrari.
Yeah. It's the wheels look great.
Sorry, 1980s Ferrari.
Yeah, the wheels look great, and the tires that are given with it as well.
Yeah.
It's modern, so you've got to have a lot of grip. And so, like we said, this car, like you said, it's a bit of a confusion. It's designed to be around the GT1 class, which no longer races. So it's got more aerodynamics than a GT3 car.
Right.
So you remember all the GT3 cars we've tested. More than that, it's got more raw power than something like the GTE series. And it's around the same kind of top speeds as a GT1 car. So you're talking the Lamborghini Diablos and them. They used to race in GT1. And, you know, like the McLaren F1 GTRs and all of them. So it's got that kind. That's the class that it's aiming for. Which I think is quite an elite class.
Yeah.
It really, really is.
Before we carry on, should we just quickly talk about the track? Because as you're going down,
Yeah.
the view, the scenery. I mean, I know we've mentioned this before,
Yeah.
but I'm quite impressed with this map. This
Yeah,
lap.
I think when I actually reviewed this, you actually weren't here. I
No, I
think.
wasn't. No, I
You think
wasn't.
You might
No.
have been on holiday.
Yeah.
So you probably didn't. This is probably the first time you are seeing this, aren't you?
Yeah.
It is a really, really good track. This is Blackwood Park, by the way. For those who don't know, I will leave a link in the description box below for this track as well as the car. It is a really, really good track, and as you guys may have noticed, the more eagle-eyed observers, it has live for speed signs everywhere, and that's actually where the track originally comes from. It's not a real track, but it's a good fun one, and that's why I thought it'd be nice to drive this track. I haven't driven it in a while. I thought let's give a thrash a Ferrari around there, you know. But back to the car, mod info. It's a small download.
Very small. It's 68 megs.
Yeah.
And then it's 229 when it's unzipped. 229
So
megabytes.
again,
so,
it's one of those where it's interesting because the car seems to be quite well optimized, all the textures and everything. It's not like a 4 gig file or something, you know, something like that. The modeling is done by GTO Fire, who's the same guy who did the 288 GTO, hence his name GTO Fire. He does some of the textures, and obviously a lot of the physics works were done by him as well. You've got Solvers, who did the animations for the driver, tires and light textures. So you like the tires, so
he is,
he's one of them to
well
thank
done,
for that.
sirs. Yeah, well done.
Now, I don't know about this one. I think it's just NWRAP-ESP because they're all in capital. So I believe it.
NRAP.
You think it's NRAP? Could be NRAP ESP. Texturing.
No.
Perhaps, yeah. Perhaps. For texturing. And you got Fonseca on sounds. Now, Fonseca's one of those really good sound modders that we haven't actually yet looked at many of his, or in fact, any of his work. So this is the first time we're looking at his work. But we've had a number of comments about sound packs that he's done for us to try them out. So here's the first look at Fonseca sounds.
Yeah.
Yep. And we've got two familiar names there. Felipe Villano, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Vali. Well, here we go again.
And I was just going to say, us and name pronunciations is just...
No. It just doesn't work. And Valley Legends.
And I just want to apologise if we've mispronounced someone's name. But, bro, when we have mispronounced someone's name...
Yeah, I was going to say, not if, I think it's when. And him and Valley Legends for the physics-based work. So again, there's two familiar names there. And this car comes with 8 liveries, some of them with racing stripes. I had to put the racing stripes on.
I guessed. I guess when I saw it, I go, yep, definitely.
When you see racing stripes, you have to put it on, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's
go
faster. You get 10 extra BHP out of them.
I'm sure you do, but it's something more 1980s about it, 1990s.
That's very, very
so
true.
I think it sort of goes with it in this one.
That is very, very true. Plus, it just looks cool, I think. It's on some cars. On this car,
yeah,
it definitely
I'm glad
does.
you said some cars.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You put it on a... Imagine putting it on one of those BMW 2 Series. No.
In fact, any BMW.
Yeah, you don't want to put it on a BMW.
No.
Maybe the old M3s you could put them
No.
on.
Not even
no.
then. No.
Looks great on a Ford.
Yeah.
You can put them on all Fords.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Don't put it on the Ford Scorpio. Someone put it on the Transit van.
Or a Galaxy, even.
Oh, gosh.
All right.
All
Again,
right.
we're drifting off. Right, we're going back to the mod itself. What was your first impressions of it?
I'll be honest, my first impressions, like yours, were one of confusion. Like, okay, what is this car actually meant to be? You know, I thought, let me give it a go, but what is the car meant to be? And I got into the car. You can see, this was actually my first time in the car, by the way, this whole thing. So I looked in the cockpit and I thought, okay, it's got a new, it's got a redesigned HUD and all that kind of stuff. But generally, from where I was sitting, it looked like a bog standard 288. So I thought, okay. Modeling wise, I looked at it and I thought, well, it's sort of got all these styling cues from other Ferraris. You know, there's a lot of other Ferraris in it. It's like a mashup of many different Ferraris, like
exactly
you said.
that, exactly
but
that.
at the same time, it also seems to work because it shows a natural progression from the 288 to the, you know, as you see me lose control, I'll explain that in a minute, to the F40s and, you know, and beyond. So there was that. I'll be honest, I wasn't too sure of the car until a couple of laps. After a couple of laps, I thought, all right, this is good. This is worth reviewing. So that was my first impressions of the car, was of confusion that then became, ooh, this is actually pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Modelling, like I said, took styling cues off everything. You commented on something at the back, didn't you? Down at the back, it looked kind of odd.
Yeah.
It's like too wide or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think now that you've explained what it is, I think I've sort of grown onto why they've done it.
Yeah.
I mean, and also it was a Ferrari in the 80s. They were quite wide from the back anyway.
Yeah, Ferraris are, definitely.
Or as I was calling it, the Infernus.
Yeah, the Infernus, yeah. Let's not go back there. Yeah. But then moving on from that into texturing, I think the texturing was quite impressive all around.
Yeah, I would give it that. I mean, looking at, you know, the dashboard.
I did like that. Yeah, I did like the HUD and everything on there.
Everything, the steering wheel, and you know, it's done pretty well.
I tell you what I didn't like. One thing, I don't know about you, but if you look at the cockpit textures, especially around the vents and stuff, the actual main dashboard, don't you feel that looks a little bit flat?
I think that's probably what it is, though.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah,
but see, now that you mention it, I keep looking at it. Now
you're looking at it, and you see it just looks a little bit flat. Thank God for no clip items. Just go straight through those tires there.
No, but I'm just but
everything else looks quite detailed, but that seems to be lacking in something.
Maybe that's how it is.
Maybe that's how the car is. I mean, that was just something that stood out to me. Thinking, hang on, maybe, you know, it just looks odd. It could just be the color of it that's causing it, you know, because the rest is darker and that's a bit lighter.
Yeah, and the shadow's probably hitting it.
Yeah, the shadow hitting it in an odd angle or something, you know. So that's what I noticed. Moving on to sounds, one thing that's very important to mention is the sounds are a work in progress.
Okay.
Right, so they are going to be improved. But that being said,
but you did say that they need work on.
They did. Yeah, I mean, they do need a little bit of work.
Tweaking, mainly.
Tweaking, and that's been acknowledged already way beforehand, saying they need some tweaks. That being said, though, I think it was what the tweaks I felt it needed. It lacked a little bit of depth. You know how you were talking about last week with the R8, the whole positional sound thing?
Yeah.
All these different sounds playing together and working together. That's what this was missing. It didn't feel like there was like so many different sounds. But the sounds that were there were really high quality. So that's something, I think that's probably something obviously they're going to work on.
Yeah.
It's just getting those sounds in. It did sound like a GT car, but I tell you what was missing was I couldn't hear the turbo so much in this car.
Yeah, that's surprising though.
See, that is surprising.
Is it when you're inside or outside?
Both. I just couldn't hear the turbo that much in the car. I thought a car like this, especially if, you know, the F40 came from this, and you know the turbo of the F40 is just crazy. So I was expecting a bit more in this particular car. Now it could be because the sounds are being worked on. It could be that they've raised the sounds and put new sounds in for the engine, and not yet replaced the turbo sounds, or something like that.
But the sounds thing, to be fair, we'll give that a miss then, because I think
we'll give it a miss. I mean, not to say that it's not good quality.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, it does show what Fonseca can do.
Yeah,
they are really, really good quality, and I'd like to hear like a finished sound product on this. And the physics were what stood out on this car, I'll be honest, and that's where I thought, okay, this is a car really worth reviewing, because it felt like, you know, when you get those, I mean, did you ever play games like Grid?
No. Played Grid, no.
Grid had these GT cars, these old GT cars in there, and they were just, okay, Grid was an arcade game, but even as an arcade, you could tell that these cars were just absolutely brutal. And if there was any sort of realism to them, they would be quite difficult to drive.
Yeah, you mean like an old school GT type car?
Exactly, really old school. You know, you're talking before the McLarens. Yeah, that's what this car was like to drive. not hard at slow speeds, but you know when you started pushing it, the whole, especially the back end of the car, just kept coming alive. And you can see I am all over the place in certain corners, and that's a lot to do with how I was shifting. And this is where the gear shifts become really important, because it's got no auto blip. You do have to, press the throttle every time you're coming down the gears, just to make sure that the engine's spooled up enough so that the torque going to the back doesn't just spin up the wheels and throw you into a corner, which is exactly what happened a few laps back, where I just sort of fishtailed and plowed into a wall. And I felt that was, that brutal gear change gives it a feeling like I don't think any other car has in Assetto Corsa at the moment. The closest car that I'd come to this is probably one of the DTM cars, the M3 DTM.
Yeah.
That would probably be the closest that comes to it with the brutal gear change. Every other car sort of has a gear change that's more timid.
In comparison to this,
yeah. Obviously, some of them are quite crazy, and I'm not including F1 cars here, because F1 cars are a different category. But that was my feel of it. I'd also had a lot of force feedback on it, so much that I had to actually tone it down. I actually had to put the feedback down.
Is that the first time you've had to do that?
That is actually the first time I've had to do that, yeah. So, and you can still see it clipping. If you look in the corner, you can see it going into the red. The grey bar keeps going into the red. There you go.
Yeah.
So, and that was actually down. I think I got it down to about 85% or something.
Okay.
So but the feedback was really good, but it was really, really strong. So that's something to perhaps be aware of. And in the low rev range, while you had the torque, you did not have the power. You really did not have the power. I could have my foot hard down, and it would be,
that's the car, though, isn't it?
That's the car.
Yeah.
That's how the car would be designed. I mean, the Ferrari F40 had the exact same problem. I think 0 to 30 in a Ferrari F40, most of your road cars would beat it.
Yeah.
But as soon as it hit 30 miles an hour, it would be gone. 30 to 70, it just take off like nothing else, like a rocket ship or something. So I mean that's what we got from it. How would we rate this car now? There it goes. And I actually, by mistake, I hit the brake bias button. That's how much I was panicking. trying to correct it. I smashed on the brake bias and I just moved it forward. But how much would we rate this? I think I've basically got 2 laps to go.
Yeah. With all that in consideration, I'm not including sounds.
Yep.
I'm gonna give it just below a 9, an 8.7, 8.8.
That's actually quite good, because I was actually going to give it an 8.9.
Okay.
I was actually just going to give it literally right below a 9. Just like if it just sort of I think I'm actually taking the sounds into consideration. But I'm taking the sounds into consideration, saying that they're going to improve it.
Yeah. And
if they improved it, I would probably give this car something like a 9.2.
Okay.
It's not my favorite car. I think there's parts of the mod that do need a little bit of work and stuff. But it is a car that's definitely worth over a 9, and I think just finishing those sounds off would give it an extra 0.3, 0.4 for me.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it an 8.9, you're giving it an 8.7, did you say?
Yeah.
So an 8.8 overall.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good, definitely worth a download. So make sure you guys go and download this car. Download links will be in the description box below. We'll let you enjoy the last few, in fact there's only a few seconds, so we're just going to talk it through. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to our channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. And next week, we start taking a look at Dream Pack 3. So we hope to see you then. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.